This is video 2 of 3 for section 8.1 in IM1. And again, just a bunch of vocab. So let's start talking about segments and rays. So these are defined terms now, meaning we actually have a way of defining them versus like points and planes and lines. So the definition shows us a line written as line AB, and from that line we can create two more bits of information that we use a lot in geometry. One of them is called segments and the other is called rays. So let's go this direction and let's talk about segments first. So a line segment is a just portion of a line. So if you start by giving yourself maybe a line like this, and we know this is a line because the arrows tell us it goes off in direction forever and ever. And let's say I have a point on that line, we'll call it E, and another point on that line, which we'll call F. Then the line segment is only the stuff that's in between E and F. So right here, this right here would just be the line segment EF. And the way that we would say it is we would say EF with just a line segment over it. We would not say EF with the arrow bars because the arrow bars means we have a line. So this is line EF. And this one over here is line segment EF. So this is our segment. It's also to note that there are endpoints that come with line segments. So E and F are the endpoints for your segment, right? Let's go over here now and talk about, in purple, rays, the other side, right? So if I take a line like I did before, and I'll just stay with the example E and F, right? So E and F, and I only look at E and then go off in one direction, okay, then what I have is created is a ray. So I have an endpoint and then a direction. So E represents our endpoint, so that would be our endpoint over here, okay, and then the ray just shoots off in another direction. So we would label this as EF, and we would draw it with an arrow that points sort of in that direction with the endpoint labeled first, right? The endpoint is labeled first. So if I went the other way, for example, so in green, so if I took the endpoint F and went this direction, then I would have ray FE, and I would draw the arrow in that direction, going from F to E, and F would indicate that F is the endpoint. So endpoints start at the beginning, which is kind of strange because we say they're the endpoint, but they start at the beginning, and they go sort of in that direction that you're pointing, right? Now, there are opposite rays. Opposite rays say exactly what you think they would. They would literally just point in opposite directions. So if I have ray CA and then CB, those would be opposite rays. So the technical definition of that, let me zoom in for you, would say the following. It says if C is on line AB between A and B, then ray CA and ray CB are opposite rays. So basically just two rays that point in the opposite direction, okay? All right, so let's try example 2 together. Naming segments, rays, and opposite rays. And I'll go back to green for you. So give another name for line segment GH. So remember, this right here says line segment GH. So here is the line segment GH. Another name I could give that would be HG. Just be pointing in the, sort of reverse the direction there, right? Part B says name all the rays with endpoints that are J, and then which ones of these are opposite rays. So I'm going to do this for you in like a dark blue. So I could have, if this is my endpoint, I could have ray JH. So for part B down here, I could say I could have ray JH, right? And then notice how I would label it, starting with J as the endpoint and then going out towards H. I could also have JE, this ray here. So I could have JE. Again, J is the endpoint and shooting off to E. I could also have JG, so JG, and again with my arrow. And then finally I could have JF, so another one could be JF. So each of these 4 rays all have J as the endpoint. Now it says which of these rays are opposite. So ray JH and JG are opposite, so JH and JG, so I'll like kind of highlight those for you. And then I'll highlight the other ones in orange. So JE and JF. So these guys over here are opposite rays. So remember, they're just pointing in opposite directions, and they are guaranteed to be collinear, which we'll get into that later. So there's box 2 for you. Okay, box 3 is a you try. So go ahead and try this, and the video will pause and come up with A and B, and then I'll show you the answers when we're done. Okay, so part A, give another name for KL. So line segment KL could, of course, be line segment LK. That would work just fine. And then it says, name the opposite ray for ray PN. So in like maybe red here, right? If this is endpoint and this is ray PN, then the opposite one would have to be ray PM in that direction right there with my arrow indicating I have the ray. So that'd be this one over in this direction. All right, that's everything for the second video for 8.1.